We are live. Omar Kelly, Alain Poupart, alldolphins.com. We are live. Are we live, Omar?
Yeah, we are live. I see.
We are live. Love it. With 2 comments already. We're running late. We were running a little bit late. We are testing. We are not technical geniuses, to say the least. And I speak for myself here first. I don't know about Omar.
No, I'm not a technical genius. I'm that person. If you show me how to do something, I can get it done. But it's very difficult for you to show me. I can get it done over and over again, but it's very difficult for you to show me that first time.
Yeah. I'm with you. You know the expression, explain this to me like I was a 4-year-old? That may have been invented for me.
Explain this to me like I'm a 5th grader. That's my favorite line. And that's generally how I can understand things. But we are.
So you guys are wondering what we're doing is we were testing out a live show because we want to go live right after the game Sunday against the New England Patriots at Gillette
We're
Stadium.
thinking about it. It depends on what's going on here, troubleshooting, figuring out if we like this thing. Do they get to comment and ask questions?
Yes. They do get to comment. I got comments here. I don't see any questions. If anybody has any questions,
I see comments. Okay. Do you get to test and see how many people are watching live?
Oh, now see now we're going into way
too
much.
Let's not worry about that. We're live. The people are here. We're here. We taped an episode earlier. We're not going to number this. We're not going to make this an episode. It's going to be here, but we're not going to mess up Poupart's magical numbers and his roster. We're here to test out whether or not we want to go live, whether or not the capabilities of going live after the game is absolutely doable. I do see a question from Jay Santos.
No, hold on. I got to do this one from Jesse K first. Please pick every game each week. Whoever loses has to ask Christian Wilkins how he feels about Omar.
No, not every week. We will not ask Christian Wilkins how he feels about me. No, that's not going to happen. Christian made it very clear how he feels about me.
Question: who scores first, Easy E or Tyndall? Everything is working good. Obviously,
Tyndall. Which Tyndall? Channing Tyndall?
Channing Tyndall would have to score on a block punt return or.
Oh, yeah. Easy E's very close to scoring. He almost could have scored in that last game. I would argue that he should have scored in that last game, but he got caught up on the last line of a block. But it was still an explosive play. He's trending upwards on those Deebo Samuel plays.
Yep. No, and while he's not as quick or fast as Deebo Samuel is, he's bigger than Samuel, and he's going to be able to break tackles as he showed in the preseason. Should we look at some more of these?
I would love to see him be that high point catcher I'm not saying that Tua needs it. I'm not saying that Tua needs it in the red zone, because that pass you saw Tyreek catch the game-winning touchdown catch on, we see Tua. Poupart probably won't admit this, but we see Tua throw that pass so pinpoint on a regular basis. He can put the pass in the end zone where only a defender. When he's inside the 20, he's generally money. And he will put the pass where only his receiver can get it.
But I will say to that touch throw in the corner, Tua throws that beautifully, without question. There will come a time when you need to get it up. On that particular play, what made that play work above and beyond Tua's pass and Tyreek doing a great job of not looking for the ball until the last second was the cornerback never turning around. If we're going to be honest about it, if you remember the play, the ball basically, it was literally here. And it's to me, it drives me nuts when I watch cornerbacks play and they never turn around to look at the ball. That's what he did. He was so focused on, again, Omar, you're giving me that look.
Turn around and look at the ball. You're going to get burned that way unless you're playing zone.
Dude, he was in the end zone. It's not like Tyreek's going to burn him 50 yards on the field. He was from the 4-yard line.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, so that was poor cornerback play. And then, okay, fine. Everything was perfect from the offense. And
no.
Dude, come on.
If you're not in the zone, that's how Noah got exposed. Noah kept creeping looking in the backfield. You look in the backfield
from the 4-yard line.
Okay.
And by the way, you bring up Noah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I want to bring up a point. This is regarding Noah and all the shots, the arrows that he took while he was here. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Buffalo Bills have made inactive for the second consecutive week their first round pick from last year was a cornerback, Elam from Florida. And unless I'm mistaken, it's not an injury situation. So if I'm wrong on that point, erase my whole thing. If I'm correct on that point, so everybody was bitching about no one not being able to make any sort of impact. It doesn't happen to just only the Dolphins.
Everybody knows you get first round bus. Everybody gets first round bus.
Oh, that's true.
When you have 3 first round picks, you hope that
yep.
One of them is good, and you know one of them's good, and it looks like Austin Jackson is on the verge of being good. Noah, we've unloaded for a gunner. Okay. Right. It is what it is. And I think part of the issue with Noah, and I am on the stand as Noah was a man crush member for me in that 2020 draft. I had him pegged as a second round pick, did not have him pegged as a 30th pick, and I certainly would have selected a lot of running backs and a safety in Tampa ahead of Noah, but that's neither here nor there.
Winfield, is that who you're talking about?
Yes, Winfield.
Yeah,
yes.
No, I liked him a lot too. I loved him or one of the running backs, and it's like by the time they got to 30, they had their pick of any running back on the board because the first one was CEH at 32. So yeah, that was a miss. But as I said before, if Tua continues to ball, it continues on the path he's on, even if Austin Jackson doesn't pan out, and it's looking promising right now, it's hard to complain about a draft where you land your franchise quarterback.
All right, so we did get a live notice that we went live. Okay, look at that. Look at us. We're coming up technologically. Look at us. Look at us.
Okay, I got a question here. Just curious if you know who has the receiving yards single game record. How long until Tyreek Hill breaks it? If he does, question mark. I know it was Flipper Anderson for the longest time had it, and was 330 something. For some reason, I'm thinking he got beat a couple of years ago, perhaps. So it's in the 300. It's in the 340s, maybe.
That's a lot.
Oh yeah. Can Tyreek Hill break it? Who would say no to that? It's impossible.
No. You know what? I really don't know if Dolphin fans realize that you traded for and acquired a first ballot Hall of Fame player. I mean, Tyreek plays 4 more years at the rate that he's playing. This guy's going in the Hall of Fame like Calvin Johnson. He's one of the best players of this era. I remember when he came into the league the second year, and this is a very pivotal point for me because the people that I talk to inside the league who are in part of front offices, they're like, yeah, we're trying to find the next Tyreek Hill. Everybody was trying to find the next Tyreek Hill. He was such a scary weapon. And it's so beneficial that he's on your team and that he's the top weapon for this supposedly mastermind of a play caller. They're creating new offenses right now with him. I heard something very interesting the other day, and it came from Colt McCoy, I think it was from Colt McCoy. I've been listening to a lot of things, trying to learn some intricate parts of Mike McDaniel's offense because there are things that are unique for me. And the Dolphins have created a yak offense in terms of this isn't where receivers are turning around to catch the ball. This is where everybody's generally catching the ball in stride while they're moving. And people like Colt McCoy say, this is the hardest offense to try to build. It's the hardest play. It takes an extremely accurate quarterback who's throwing the spots. And Miami's, and that's just to include those plays. Miami's whole offense built off those plays.
Except the numbers. Hold on, Omar. Last week that was the case. The numbers from last year actually would show you the Dolphins actually were among the lower teams in terms of yak. Last year it was like basically 25-yard completions on the middle of the field and maybe a little bit of yak, but not a ton of yak. Against the Chargers, though, absolutely. I remember the play with Tyreek Hill over the middle where he wound up gaining, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 yards after the catch. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just so unique. And so you hear, I mean, obviously they came out like gangbusters and had success. And that's what I expected from, I didn't necessarily expect them to win, but I expect the offense to look good. I know they struggled against the Dolphins in training camp at times, But as I always said to people, I think that they were experimenting and seeing what they wanted to do, what they liked, what worked, what didn't work, as opposed to game planning and strategically structuring the offense to attack this player or this unit or this area of the field. So I don't have doubt that the offense will be a top 10 unit. My question is,
you mean the defense? You mean the defense?
No, I mean, I don't have doubt that the offense will be a top 10 unit.
Of course, there were 6
I have a lot of doubt about the defense being a top 10 unit.
Well, and here's the thing about the defense, though, is they played a Charger offense that's very good. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. That Charger offense is very good, and the Patriots offense is not nearly as good. I want to go back quickly to Jeff, who asked a question about the receiving record. I was correct. It has not been beaten. It's Flipper Anderson. It's 336 yards, and he clarified that his question was in regards to the Dolphin record, which is 253 yards by Brian Hardline in a 2012 game with Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball. Actually, it was Ryan Tannehill's
Arizona.
It was at Arizona. It was like the 3rd or 4th game of the season. So Ryan Tannehill's 3rd or 4th start. Absolutely, that record's going to go down. It's a matter of time.
Absolutely, no question about that. Let's
is
get
Trent
into
Brown playing. Is Trent Brown playing? Yes or no? Check back at 6:50. The Patriots are notorious are very well known for easy.
Why didn't they have to declare that yesterday?
I'm sorry.
Why didn't they have?
Go ahead.
I'm curious why the Patriots didn't have to declare a Trent Brown update unless they did yesterday.
They had to declare a Trent Brown update if he's ruled out, which means he wouldn't have cleared concussion protocol, which means that they didn't declare him out, which means he cleared the protocol. Therefore, he's in line to play. Whether he does, again, check at 6:50, unless it gets leaked to one of the league-owned network representatives who will tweet out the news at some point. But my guess is we won't know until 6:50. And he's the one of the 2 offensive linemen who matters. The other one's a rookie 4th-round pick who only started last week because Cole Strange and Mike Onwenu were not playing. So we shall see.
The more important question is Teron Armstead playing. And here's my thought this morning. If he's going there, he's going to do the prep work. He's going to do the field work. Why wouldn't I put him out there?
I agree. If there's no risk of aggravating the injury beyond and above the normal playing, yeah, why wouldn't you put him out there? Everything all right?
I'm looking at an airplane very low, like tree level low in my neighborhood.
Question, Poupart, this is from Marcellus Temple. Poupart, do you see any players we need to draft from Coach Prime, Colorado Buffaloes? Travis Hunter is a hell of a player.
He's not going to be eligible. He's got
no. There wasn't a date on there. I mean, I'm talking about down the line.
Okay.
And by the way, yeah, he's going to miss a few weeks with an insanely cheap shot he took yesterday. I don't know if you saw that play.
I saw the end of it. I came back.
Geez.
I saw the score that got them to overtime, and then I watched overtime. I was out clubbing.
Okay. If you look at the replay, he went up for a pass and he was completely exposed after the play, and this safety comes in a good 3 seconds after the play and took a shot like right in the rib area and went to the hospital.
Did you see the pre? And I know how you feel about Dion. Let's not go over that. Did you see the pregame where the players from both teams were getting into it? And I believe it was Travis Henry that was just talking crap.
Hunter, yeah.
Travis Hunter that was talking crap and, going at Colorado State players. Man, it
was ugly. I mean, Colorado State had 177 yards in penalties. And I also saw Sanders, the quarterback, poke a CSU player like in the eyes when they were getting into face-to-face. He did one of those. Yeah, one of those. So,
okay.
Yeah, not kosher. I mean, there was a lot of chippiness from the start, and
I'm a Deion Sanders fan, and I would love for their team. I know who Deion is, but I would love for their team to conduct themselves with a little bit more class. Now, all of college football is watching them. Honestly, I said this on Twitter, I just want to see the game to see what happens at the end when the coaches meet.
Yeah, correct.
That's all I wanted to see. And it was a good game. I couldn't tell you the last time I stayed up to watch a Pac-12. I don't even know what they're called anymore. Game.
Pack leaving. They're called pack leaving. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah. I literally went out, was at the club, was at Red Rooster, and then came back and turned on my television, and the game was like hype, and I was like, oh, let me go get two hot dogs and enjoy this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my night, but that was like 2 a.m. right? Yeah.
I mean, it's a 10 a.m. I mean, sorry, 10 p.m. start time, which is no. And look, yeah, you know how I feel about Deion Sanders. I'm a modest, humble Canadian, or so. Maybe.
You don't like the showmanship, the braggadociousness.
I like Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, score a touchdown, act like you've been there before. That's my preference.
And that's never been.
I understand that. Doesn't mean I have to like it. And the guy's like, I will never take anything away from his accomplishments. I mean, he was an insanely good player, and he's obviously a great coach. You know, builder of programs and all that. I just wish you don't have to tell us how great you are every 2 seconds. That's all. That's all. We had a good question here from Carlos Segarra. You guys often say that the Finns don't pay their own. When was the last time we did not pay a player who lived up to the contract he got elsewhere? Oh, that would require some research.
Lived up to the contract that he got elsewhere. That's not fair. And let me tell you the reason why it's not fair. Because most players, including the players you sign, never, ever complete their contract. You know, the last Dolphins player that wasn't on a rookie deal that completed their contract, I believe it was Randy Starks. It just does not happen. Maybe I think Cameron Wake completed his contract as well. So I'll scratch that and say Cameron Wake completed his contract. But it just doesn't happen. Players don't complete their contracts because when the guaranteed money is up, either the team wants to shake them down, or the team is cutting the player, or the player wants a new deal and more guaranteed money and demands a trade. So that's the nature and the business of the NFL. Do the Dolphins pay their own players? No, they rather pay everybody else's player. That's an undeniable fact. That is fact, big time fact. Steve Ross wants to sign the biggest, flashiest name every offseason, and he doesn't deny that. He doesn't care that you don't like. He doesn't care that what anybody else thinks about it. That's how he wants to do business.
He likes the shiny objects. Yeah, the two guys that I remember here, because I don't have a media guide in front of me where I could look at the free agent losses and all that. Like, for example, Olivier Vernon, the Dolphins refused to pay him the money he wanted, and he actually played really, really well until injuries derailed his career. That would be one. And again, that's not Vernon's fault. He got hurt. Jarvis Landry
had his contract restructured, and I believe he finished his contract with Cleveland.
Was that you talking about?
Olivier Vernon.
Yeah, then he got hurt.
Yeah. So he's married to a Marley now. Did you know that?
Yes, you said on a previous show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I find it very interesting.
Yeah. And Jarvis Landry, if you want to make an example of a case where the Dolphins were smart in not paying huge money, Jarvis Landry was kind of a slot receiver asking for like
$14 million a year.
Correct. Exactly. Thank you. I was trying to find a polite way of saying it.
Guys are making 30 now. At that time,
that was a long time ago. He was asking for much more money than a slot receiver should have gotten. I mean, when he was averaging
Jarvis Landry, while he was a slot receiver, Jarvis was today's Brown, today's for the Eagles, and I'm sorry. He deserved Jarvis Landry was the 100, if I remember correct. At the time he was up for his new deal, and people want to complain about Christian Wilkins making $10.7 million this year. Jarvis was making $1.4 million in his final season of his rookie deal. He was the 117th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL and was a multiple year Pro Bowler. Like, if you want to cry about a player being underpaid, underappreciated, demanding a trade, not being taken care of, I remember Jarvis went to the organization in the final month, December, while he was playing with a broken back and saying to Mike Tannenbaum, please give me a deal. Please put something on the table. And the organization was like, no. And so then Dolphin fans got salty that this man demanded to leave the organization and said, I would not play for you ever again. Like he was playing and finished the season with a broken back, trying to get a new deal. Like for real?
Okay, but can he be somewhere in between though that the Dolphins didn't take care of him, and on the other hand, the contract that Cleveland gave him was kind of ridiculous for a slot receiver. For a slot receiver,
he was a Pro Bowl player for Cleveland, was he not? He
maybe
outperformed Odell Beckham in Cleveland, did he not?
Maybe for 1 year, but again, what he does, I mean, what is the value of a good slot receiver compared to an outside guy who's going to get you, or a guy with the versatility to line up both outside and in a slot?
You know, he could line up outside and in the slot. And you know what Tyreek Hill is? Tyreek Hill's a slot receiver. A $30 million slot receiver.
I mean, no, Tyreek Hill is a freak show. Can we be honest with you?
Where does he do his most damage? Where does he do his most damage?
Yes, the answer is yes. Where does he do his most damage? The answer is when he's on the field. That's where he does his most damage. I mean, come on.
Well played. I'll allow
it. Question. I'm from the UK. This is, the Apollo TV. Okay. I'm from the UK. Been to 3 games. Jets 2015. Philbin's last game. Patriots 2017 in Miami, and Saints 2017. Scoreless. We lost all. Stop going to Dolphin games. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
A lot of those games were in Europe, right?
Saints
last game was Europe.
2015. Yes. We lost all. I want to go to the Dallas game. Should I stay away so we win? I think all the fans on here would tell you stay the hell away.
Yes, I'm going to be in agreement. Stay the hell away.
And that's if based on week 1. I mean, how good of a matchup is this? The Dolphin offense against that Dallas defense, which looks kind of legit.
I'll worry about that game when we get closer to it. Injuries will change the landscape of this
Omar. That's why I prefaced it by saying if the lineups stay the same, you got to play along with me, man. You got to play along.
I can promise you, I don't know who the Dolphins play next week. I think it might be Denver at home.
Yes, it's a home.
Okay, but I'm honestly guessing. I'm like a coach. I don't work like that. I don't. Look ahead.
You do one day at a time, one game at a time. Well, I'm
one week at a time, and
I'm a media member. I look ahead.
Only reason I know they play Denver is because somebody told me that. And who's next?
Buffalo Bills. We had Buffalo. You want the entire schedule? I'll give you the entire schedule.
Listen, and now I'm excited because in 2 weeks we're gonna have a Josh Allen showdown if he stays healthy, and I don't think he will. I'm very interesting. I watched ESPN's pregame show, and they were talking about Josh Allen, and Rex Ryan said something that I really hadn't thought about. He's like, if the Buffalo Bills, like, you want to complain about Josh Allen's play, if Josh Allen wasn't a starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills would be a 4-win team. He is that team. Let him play, let him loose, and stop all the attacking him. And Rex said he's his favorite player in the NFL right now. I'm not going to go that far, but I think the point that he made was very accurate, where if they don't have much of a team without Josh Allen, and I never really thought about it.
No. Well, really? Their defense was like 4th in the NFL or top 5 in the NFL last year, and the year before. Stephon Diggs is a hell of a player. They have 2 really good receiving tight ends. Their offensive line is so. What they don't have is a stud running back, which is why I don't understand for the life of me. If I'm them, we talk about Jonathan Taylor for the Dolphins. Why, if you're the Bills, why the hell would you not make a move for Jonathan Taylor or Dalvin Cook before that? Even though I know that maybe they don't want to bring in his brother.
Dalvin didn't want to play on the same team with his brother.
But if you're the Bills, why would you not explore the idea of bringing in Jonathan Taylor, take some pressure off Josh Allen, who's trying to do too much? And by the way, as we're talking, games have started here, and the Raiders are up 7-0 on the aforementioned Bills. And I want to see how they scored. If it's a touchdown pass from Jimmy Garoppolo to Devontae Adams.
Okay.
But no, and that's the problem for the Bills is sometimes Josh Allen, because there's no running. Josh Allen is the running game, and he's the quarterback, which is problematic for them.
Everyone is picking against the Dolphins when Tua never lost to the Bills, and they clearly look, not Bills, Patriots, like the better team. Make it make sense. I don't know if it can make sense, but I'm still waiting for the Bill Belichick magic to happen without Brady. That's what my line is.
By the way,
how many snaps is Chris getting? Nico, yes.
Omar, hold on a second. I did a my weekly national predictions roundup, and it was more Dolphins than Patriots. So I don't know where that came from. Also on alldolphins.com, which you can check out for free as part of my very comprehensive game preview. I do predictions on Saturday morning, and I picked the Dolphins to win. So I'm not sure that everybody's predicting the Patriots to win that game. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't make predictions. I don't like to, but I would predict the Dolphins would win. How many snaps is Chris getting? Which Chris is he talking about?
Brooks?
Okay.
Is there another Chris on the roster?
I didn't think so. Let's do a name check.
15 on special teams. How's that? I don't think if he didn't play on offense last week, I don't see any reason why he would this week.
Jalen Phillips status. I expect Jalen Phillips to play, get some Toradol shot up in that back. We'll see how effective he is. He might be used on pass rushing downs only, having Agba come onto the field on running downs. Yeah, I said it. Agba on the field for running downs. What's up?
Okay, Miami 35, New England 13. I don't know if it's going to be that easy, but okay. Did you guys see the interview from NBC with Tyreek, and he had the tape on his leg? Any concerns at all there? And is Waddle doing all right from your eye? Waddle's doing perfect.
It might be a what you guys don't see all the time is that players have these, I don't know if they're called rug burns or whatever, turf burns from playing on turf where their skins are all scabbed up. So often I did see it. I watched the interview, was very bored by it. No offense. There's a Mike McDaniel pivot interview up. That's very interesting. And didn't reveal very much, but it showed a little bit of his personality. A lot of filibustering as usual. Poupart, you should know what that means. But he showed the respect that he had for the pivot, and I totally love those guys and respect them, even though I used to work for the competitor. But totally, as I've said on Twitter once, and I will continue to say, everything that the pivot ever said about I Am Athlete and Brandon Marshall is 1,000% accurate. So take that for what it is.
Question: is the Verone McKinley release a mistake? No. You need a roster spot, and with all due respect to Verone McKinley, I mean, he's a rookie free agent last year who started on the practice squad, got moved up to the active roster, and now this year, I don't think he was a lock to make. I think all of us actually thought he wasn't going to make the team until Ronaldo Hill decided put out there that there were three guys competing for the starting job, and it was Deshaun Elliott, Elijah Campbell, and Verone McKinley. And I know Omar and I were like, "I'm sorry, what?" So no, I mean, my guess he's going to be re-signed to the practice squad if he doesn't get picked up by another team.
And if he does get picked up by another team, congratulations and best of luck to you. And I'll continue to follow your career. And I want the best for you.
Who are you kidding, Omar? I talked about Gesicki this week, and you're like, who cares? He doesn't play for the Dolphins anymore. But you're going to
no. Listen, Linda.
Linda.
As you never seen that meme? It's like I'll show it to you. Listen, Linda. His mom, the kid's talking to his mother, and his mother's not listening.
Oh yeah. Now it rings a bell.
Okay. I will argue, and I challenge you, Poupart and Dolphin fans. I challenge you to give me a bigger era in the Chris Grier era as GM and top executive of this team, a bigger era than Mike Gesicki. You should have taken Dallas Goedert. You shouldn't have wasted 2 draft picks on Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki and Durham Smythe, 2 draft picks on one position in one critical draft. I don't care what Adam Gase wanted. Brian Flores wanted Jordan Love. You didn't give him to him. You gave him Tua. Don't pick the one-dimensional tight end. Then you're like, oh, we're going to teach him how to block. Oh, we're going to 2 coaching staffs. Oh, we're going to teach him how to block. Come on, man. I swear to God. I'm sorry I'm so upset about this.
You are so passionate about Mike Gesicki. It's actually very fun.
I had never in my life seen anybody, because understand, Mike Gesicki played for Penn State when Saquon Barkley was at Penn State. And I was watching Saquon Barkley film. Was not looking for a tight end, but I saw this guy on the field who was a ridiculously bad blocker and horrible liability on the field. And I was like, wow, Saquon Barkley's doing all this with this guy on the field? This guy's a laughing stock as a blocker. And then the team you cover drafts him. And I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like, have you not looked at any of this guy's film and seen he's a disaster as a blocker? Not bad, a disaster. And then you put him on your team, and then you're like, oh, we're going to teach him how to block. Did anybody teach him how to block for 5 years? Absolutely not. Then he gets onto the his contract is finally up. And you know what you do with the dumbest move ever? You franchise tag him. Instead of just letting him go and going and probably signing another tight end, hell, elevating Durham Smythe, which you did a year later. No, you give this guy $11 million to be a part-time player in an offense after the coaching staff figured out, yeah, this guy can't block. We can't use him. Like, come on, man. That's the money, draft picks, bad selection. Tell me a bigger instance of mismanagement of resources than that.
Jabari Morris, hat tip for a good one here. So, Omar, are you saying that Mike Gesicki was a Dallas Thomas of tight ends? That's good.
No, because he can actually play.
Okay.
I will never argue that Gesicki is a glorified slot receiver.
Yes.
That's what he is. He's a big, tall, slow slot receiver. If you want him to do anything else other than be a slot receiver, you're asking for trouble. And I just don't get it. So you wasted money, draft picks, could have traded him twice, got picks for it, didn't do it. Could have let him go and got a compensatory pick, didn't do it. Like, what are you doing, man?
Omar, I got to ask you this. Will your head explode if Gesicki goes, I don't know, 783-2 tonight?
I said no. He can have 100 yards. I would not care. What I would care is if he's blocking people in pass protection and run blocking. I'm taking names. If you're blocked by Mike Gesicki, I don't care under any circumstance. If you see Mike Gesicki trying to block you, you better Debo him to the ground. You better just absolutely bulldoze him to the quarterback because he cannot block. You know he can't block. You've been his teammate. You know he can't block. So you just should look at that as like a turnstile. And if anybody gets blocked, I'm taking names. I'm putting out film.
Column coming on alldolphins.com on Tuesday. Players who miss an opportunity to take advantage of Mike Gesicki's blocking.
Gesicki to me is the biggest cheat code versus the Patriots. If you put him on the field, I'm just blitzing. I'm blitzing wherever he's at because he can't protect it. He can't.
Oh, good question here. Another good question. If I remember correctly, it's from the same gentleman who asked us about staying away from the Dallas game. Who out of the 2020 draft class would you re-sign? And it disappeared on me. I have to move up and find it. Who would you re-sign of the 20 draft class? Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis, or Brandon Jones? Or, yeah, I don't know if it could be more than one answer here.
My answer is to be continued. Let me see how the season plays.
No, correct. At this, we're going to play the game, I guess, as I'm saying, is as of right now. I would say Tua's not on the list. And obviously, first of all, he's already on the contract for 2024 and he continues to ball out. Then it's going to be time to talk long-term extension. So
you really think he's playing for $23 million a year next year?
Hence why I said if he continues to ball out, it'll be time to talk about a long-term extension. Isn't that what I just said?
Tua's going to make $50 million in a year next year. Remember, I said that to you. Okay,
it's certainly not impossible with the start of the season. Certainly not impossible. Austin Jackson, Robert Will. Again, based on week one, Austin Jackson right now. Robert, there's not anybody on that group that I don't like. If we go by pecking order, I'm giving the tackle first. If Austin Jackson, again, based on week one, and if he has a good year, I think Robert Hunt's the best player of the four, though. I'm going to be honest.
Who's inactive? A Chain or Brooks? Clearly, it's a Chain. Come on, let's keep.
Yeah, and it's not in a Chain versus Brooks situation because Brooks helps out on special teams and he gives you the short yardage option. To me, it's more of an A Chain versus Ahmed. At some point, when A Chain is active, I would expect Ahmed's the one who's going to be inactive, and that might not happen until Jeff Wilson's back. In which case, then maybe Brooks isn't quite as valuable because Jeff Wilson can do short yardage stuff.
What adjustments need to be made to make the defense stop the run? I think today you're going to see a 3 defensive tackle line. I think you'll see that Sealer, Raekwon, Wilkins, and also Agba, Raekwon, Sealer, and Wilkins too. Yeah,
And,
somewhere.
and Deshaun Hand's going to get some snaps also.
Yes. Poker Todd was awesome. We thank you. If you didn't check out the previous betting podcasts that we did, we're trying it out. Leave your thoughts in the comment. Leave your suggestions in the comment. As we say, we're doing this live right now because you people just kept asking for it and asking for it. You, what did I say I was going to call our podcast community?
Oh yeah, we forgot now, didn't we?
I called Twitter people my Twitches, but that doesn't really apply here.
The All Dolphins, the All Dolphins family, was that what it was?
Yeah. I think it's All Dolphins family. Please, this is your podcast. You tell us what you want us to do. We make it happen. So, which is why we're testing out this podcast, which we will do at the end of the game. When it's over, we'll be here to talk about it and dissect it. So hopefully you'll stay up after midnight and continue to join, support, watch. I'll also be part of the WQAM pregame show today, which starts at 4:00. I need a nap right now, to be honest with you, because I'm not going to be making it to 1:00 in the morning if I continue at this pace.
Sorry.
I am. What else?
And also, we keep going because I was going to say, and keep checking alldolphins.com. We'll have the information with all the inactive info and their implications at about 6:50 is when they're due. Halftime observations as well, right as halftime occurs, insight on everything that happened in the first half, as well as right after the game.
Jason Taylor 9944 says we traded a first ballot Hall of Famer in his prime. Who is that? I don't remember that. Who's a Hall of Famer that we trade? Minka?
Ryan Tannehill? I'm sorry, no.
Who?
Yeah. Harsh. Minka.
I like that.
If it's Minka, yeah, and I was semi defending Brian Flores yesterday in terms of not being nearly as bad a coach as a lot of Dolphin fans would suggest. That one to me is the biggest negative check mark on his Dolphin resume. The fact that he couldn't play nice with Minka Fitzpatrick, sent him away, and that dude's a player.
Let me tell a story about that. A story about that.
Story time.
Story time. That was my favorite corner in the locker room. That was the cornerback corner. All my friends were over there, so I go hang out over there and got to know those guys. Minka stuck out like a sore thumb. He did not really get along with a lot of those guys. He did not really understand the NFL, and he was used to Alabama, and the way Saban did things, and he didn't understand the NFL. I think it wasn't so much Brian Flores. I don't think Minka liked Miami. I didn't think Minka definitely hated the Tua stuff because they used to kid him about the people in the locker room used to kid him about we're tanking this season for Tua and but for your buddy Tua. And so when he heard it from players who they weren't naive in terms of what was going on, like the team was like, I remember Walt Aiken saying, like, bro, we added 9 players the week before the season. A lot of them started, they were on the field, and we're calling people by numbers because we don't know their names. Like, of course we're tanking. Like, you could say whatever you want to say, but that's the reality of it. Like, people are on the football field. Not only do they not know their plays or what they're supposed to do, but we don't know their names. Like that was the reality of the Baltimore season opener. So don't sit here and deny. And then the Josh Rosen situation. Only reason that Josh Rosen could not start for Miami is because the entire team would have quit on him. Josh Rosen was that bad. They wanted at least a chance to win the game. So Minka, it wasn't necessarily his, because remember, we walked and saw Flores trying to talk Minka into staying. That day, we're coming from the locker room, and they were in the lunchroom, and they were sitting there having an animated conversation. And Minka's mind was made up that he wanted to go. He didn't want to be there. and it just wasn't the right fit for him. So they traded him. They moved him. It is what it is. Players can force, especially if you got a good enough agent. You don't think players can force their way out?
Well, it's certainly not like they can in basketball. And this is where, again, this is your job as a head coach, and part of it is managing personalities and managing players. Make it work. This is a guy, I don't know about first ballot Hall of Fame, but he's certainly on track to make the. He's certainly on track to make the Hall of Fame. He's been all pro practically every year. The dude can play. Okay, make it work.
Also, the fact that he wanted to play Bobby McCain as free safety and not Minka, that would never went well with Minka. And it shouldn't have.
No, correct. Well, he wanted to have Minka play close to the box, and we
wanted Minka to be the rover and do everything.
Correct.
And Minka wanted to play free safety.
And remember they did the good old joint practices with Tampa Bay where he was got annihilated by tight ends, and
his mom got
involved.
Yeah, his mom got in some feelings about stuff I was tweeting because he was getting abused by tight ends. His mom was like, he's not supposed to be covering tight ends. That's why he's not playing the position. And then Flores had to answer questions about Minka's mama. That was classic right there. That was a classic. That was a first for me.
No, and then he said in an interview a couple of years after he left the Dolphins that in that first game he wound up playing a position he hadn't played the whole week in practice. And I don't know if you recall, but he was booty cheeks. He was getting abused that first game against Baltimore. Then again, so was everybody on defense. But Minka,
that wasn't his first year. That was
that was his second year. But it was the opener of his second year, and he said he practiced all week at one position, and game time played a different position.
Yep, but you weren't tanking, Brian Flores. No, you're just making it extremely difficult for your own team.
If we see two more crazy snap exchanges, how badly do you want the Fins to get a chance to see Liam at center? I know you.
Liam? No.
No, you don't want to see Liam Eckenberg?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Like give Liam a chance to rest.
And again, for the record, yes, I'm going to say it. The shotgun snap was at the knees. It wasn't a dribbler. It wasn't 7 feet over his head. No, it wasn't a perfect snap. It certainly was not uncatchable. The bad center exchange at the goal line, I saw the replay 3 times. It looked like it went straight to the hands. Okay, I'm not ready to put that on. I'm not going to put on Tua. I'm not ready to put on Connor Williams either. And then there was one, I couldn't even see what happened on the first play of the game because there was movement up front and Bosa was offside anyway. So in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. So I don't know if we need to press the panic button on Connor Williams vis-a-vis the snapping at this time.
All right. Can I go to bed now?
Yes, it's your bedtime.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm like, listen.
We should do this more often, though, actually. We should do these more often, actually. That was good.
Yeah. Talking for 4 hours takes a lot out of you. So now I've just had 4 hours and 43 minutes. But I appreciate everybody for coming and joining. If you like this, we'll do it. As I said, this is your podcast. You make the rules.
I thought you made the rules, Omar. I was just following along. No, we can. We
boss, man. What you talking about?
Yeah. I'm a gentle boss type of guy. No, but Omar's absolutely right. We kind of did this because we wanted to test it for tonight to do a live one right after the game. Also because we had requests to do something live. I personally enjoyed it. I hope Omar did as well. I hope you guys did as well. Most importantly, and again,
I'm always a man of the people.
Wow,
that's how
beautiful.
I go.
Like, subscribe, download, share it, tell a friend. Also, again, remember alldolphins.com. Everything is free that we do. That may be the best part of everything else. Omar, enjoy your nap. Have fun on the pregame show. Let's enjoy the game and let's reconvene back here. I'm going to guess 8:15, 3:15 hour, about 11:30-ish.
All right. See you.
Now I got to figure out how to end this. Is there an end button here? End stream. There you go. Later, everyone.
All right.